Coming up on American Black Journal, the changing face of poverty in our communities. Lighthouse of Oakland County talks about who's being affected by poverty and what's being done to find permanent solutions. Plus, a former high school in the city's historic Paradise Valley is getting new life. We'll talk with the building's new occupants, the University Prep Science and Math Schools, and the Mosaic Youth Theatre. It's all coming up next.
Lindsay wants to know.
So I'm curious, what's DTE Energy doing to improve their customer service?
Why don't we take a ride over there and let Rachel tell us? Hello.
Hello. Take a walk with me. Here at DTE Energy, we're working very hard to improve our service, like answering every call under 1 minute and resolving the issue on the first call.
Wow, no passing the buck, huh?
Nope. And plus, we're adding over 100 customer service jobs right here in the state of Michigan.
I need to get a real job.
I'm going to send your application.
Thanks, Rachel. DTE Energy. Know your own power.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. A recent report by Data Driven Detroit revealed that the number of Detroit children living in poverty has risen an astonishing 65% over the past decade. Many families are living paycheck to paycheck, and seniors are living on little or no pensions. Poverty is affecting people of all ages and backgrounds. Joining me now to talk about solutions to poverty are Priscilla Perkins, who's the Chief Development Officer at Lighthouse of Oakland County, and Dr. Sharman Davenport, who is the agency's Vice President of Programs. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you.
That number I cited in the open is that's really remarkable.
Yes, it is.
It's gone up that much. And one of the things I think of all the time is that the stereotypes that we hear lots about poverty, who is in poverty, where they live, those are the things that are really changing fastest right now.
Yes, I would agree with that. Over the last couple of years, we have really seen a remarkable change, I think, in the number of people that are in poverty now and the change in the characteristics and the makeup of the people who are finding themselves in poverty. Millions of people have lost their jobs. Pensions are no longer existing.
Right.
Children are with a lot of single mothers raising them, and all of these critical issues that have occurred over these last few years have really changed the face of poverty as we've known it in the past.
Yeah, and these are not cyclical changes, right? It's just not about just the economy being bad for a time, and then when it gets better, people will regain some of the ability they have. I mean, we're talking about sort of more permanent, fundamental shifts, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I think for me, what we see when we look at our Center for Working Families, for example, a big gap is the technological gap.
Right.
If you don't have internet service at your convenience, how are you going to apply for a job?
How do you find the job?
How do you find the job? How do you apply for the job? Because as you know, most companies are no longer an employment office where you go and sit and write an application. You have to go online to their website and complete that application. So when we look at this kind of services our organization provides, our goal is to move people to self-sufficiency.
Right.
And self-sufficiency has a whole range of definitions. And Sharman, has been in this business much longer than I have and can tell you about, the goal, American dream. We'd love everyone to have their own home.
Right, right.
But there's a whole series of processes that you must utilize to get there.
Yeah.
And when you look at our transitional housing, our supportive housing, our permanent housing program that consists of a lot of Section 8, the whole intent to help people who may be facing crisis, but how do you make yourself less vulnerable?
Right.
How do you get to that point in time where you no longer need our services?
Right.
I always tell our donors, our goal is to be out of business.
Right, right.
And that'd be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the stereotypes, right? Is that that not just about people who live in poverty, but agencies that serve the poor. A lot of people think, well, you're just giving them handouts. You're just you're feeding them rather than teaching them how to get to the point where they can. And that's not true.
No, that's really not true at all. And that's just the opposite of what we're trying to achieve at Lighthouse. It's very important for us to make sure that the individuals that we serve, that we're helping them transform their lives so that they are becoming self-sufficient and self-sustaining for themselves. We provide services that, first of all, help move people from crisis to self-sufficiency.
Right.
So we recognize the importance of providing those basic needs: food, utility assistance, housing assistance, but then moving from there and taking them to the next step, which is helping them to begin that road towards self-sufficiency.
Right.
By providing them, you know, help towards education, employment, the skill development. We're providing them with a life program that, you know, provides a group of families to kind of work and move together through almost like a cohort of families supporting one another as they strive towards self-sufficiency and work towards goal attainment.
Right, right.
And I think that's the beauty of it, Steve. What a lot of people out there with very negative stereotypes of low income. Low income doesn't equate with less intelligent and less moral.
Right.
It usually equates with less opportunity.
Right.
A story I often hear is, what's the difference between you and me and Charmin and a very poor person is what's in our wallet.
Right.
And I'm not talking about money.
Right.
We have more resources. I have a AAA membership. I have a dozen friends I can call if I get into trouble. But we are about, when you think about what Charmin referred to, the LIFE program, or the Family Independence Initiative, relying on the wisdom of people who live in communities and understand what resources may or may not be available to pool their resources together to help each other move along.
Right.
That's how our immigrant communities are often so successful.
Sure, and that's one of the other dynamics of poverty that people don't think about is the isolation.
Yes.
And you guys are real focused on fixing that, right?
Yeah, not only are they isolated, though, but if you live in poverty long enough, you often kind of lose that feeling of you lose your self-esteem. You don't think that you can achieve. And so if you pair people together so that they're working together to achieve the same types of accomplishments, then that self-esteem reemerges, and they feel more confident in their ability to move forward and become self-sufficient.
Sure. I've got you guys here, so I would be remiss if I didn't bring up some of the things that we're seeing going on in Washington and in Lansing that have real direct impact on the people you guys are serving. I mean, the cuts to things like the earned income tax credit, some of the ideas that they're talking about in Lansing right now about drug testing welfare recipients or punishing families when their kids don't go to school. This is right in the... Right
in that alley. And you know, at Lighthouse of Oakland County, we like to think of the fact that we don't perceive low-income people with the negative stereotypes. I think all those kinds of policy initiatives you see coming out of Lansing now and out of Washington, and the sequestering that's cutting, you know, the very basics of what people need to just get a leg up, is based on very negative stereotypes. The first thing you see legislators pointing to is, well, we ought to drug test people.
Right.
I mean, what about talking about if a person has an issue with substance abuse, thinking of how do we help them achieve the treatment that they need to overcome these things? Yeah, we got a 50% maybe dropout rate somewhere. What about the 50% that are making it? And so at Lighthouse, our focus is on, like, when we look at the very successful program, Charmin Davenport has been very instrumental in getting women to a 91% success rate. Women who come into our program homeless because of either domestic violence or other difficulties, within 24 months, and usually sooner, able to have a job, take care of their families, have permanent housing. So we focus on what is it that you can do.
What can we get you to,
What is it that you can do? Not about what you're not, but what about what you are. And this, I think, is where we strive to enact programs and initiatives that focus on what families can do for themselves.
Right. These things that are happening in Lansing in particular, which could really change the face of the way that the state deals with impoverished youth, do you feel like that'll bring more people to your doors?
Unfortunately, it probably will, because there's going to be a greater need. But the greater need is going to be around basic needs, right? Which is really where we have the most difficulty. You know, if we're only meeting their basic needs, then we really aren't working on helping them to develop the skills and the fortitude to move out of poverty.
And that's one of the sort of myths too, is that you can do either or. You can either move people to self-sufficiency or meet their basic needs. Really what most people need is both.
They need both, exactly. Because you're not going to be able to achieve basic needs. I mean, your aspirations of your basic needs aren't being met, right? And at Lighthouse, we really work to do both of those things at the same time.
We've seen poverty sort of spread out a little in this region over this time. Talk about some of the challenges you have like in places like Oakland County, which is less familiar with this problem than Wayne, for example. What dynamic does that bring?
Well, in the past, most of the poverty seemed as if it was located in the Pontiac area, right?
Right.
And now we have families that are coming from Waterford, from Auburn Hills, Rochester. We're seeing them come from all over.
And are those communities prepared to deal with those challenges? I mean, they're sort of unfamiliar with it, right?
Well, we have an office in Clarkston that caters to utilities and food assistance, and they're very busy.
Yeah.
So I think that, once again, the illusions of who's in poverty and who's not, I think we've seen it all along, but it's becoming more to the forefront because with the loss of jobs in 08 and 09 in our communities, more of your better off communities were feeling
right. We've got about a minute left. We've seen some rebound in jobs in the region over the last 2 or 3 years. Is that making a difference for these folks?
One of the, we have seen some rebound in jobs, but a lot of times those are lower paying jobs.
Yes.
And so,
very important point.
Right, and so there's still not enough income for people to move themselves out of poverty. I mean, we have families where the husband and the wife are both working, but there's still not enough money to meet their needs. I mean, and many of those families are paying 60% of their income towards housing.
Towards housing,
so that really, still leaves them very short for all the other things that they need to be able to.
Well, thank you guys for being here, and thank you for all the work you're doing in Oakland County and all over Michigan.
Yes,
all over
South, not just Oakland.
Not just Oakland
County, right?
Okay.
Tri-County.
Good luck.
Thank
you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Just ahead on American Black Journal, the historic Miller High School building in Detroit is reopening in the fall with some new tenants. We'll talk about the partnership that's giving new life to an African-American landmark. That's next. The historic Miller High School building in Detroit's famed Black Bottom neighborhood has sat empty for 6 years. It was the city's first predominantly African-American high school, and its students included notables such as Mayor Coleman A. Young, Congressman Charles Diggs Jr., and singer Della Reese. This fall, the building will once again house students in a partnership between the Thompson Foundation, University Prep Science and Math Schools, and the Mosaic Youth Theatre of Detroit.
And as those of us that have managed people know, 9 out of 10 times our success is based on the people that work with us, not on our own endeavors. So to say that, I think today, to me, is a big tribute to Margaret Trimmer Hartley.
Because of people like the Thompsons, Margaret and her leadership team, a lot of our young people are going to have the opportunities that they deserve.
UPSM Elementary is a place where children will love to come to school because they will feel respected, nurtured, valued, appreciated, and connected with their teachers, classmates, administrators, families, and the community.
So we are thrilled not only to be working with UPSM to infuse the arts into every element of the curriculum while providing music and theater programs at the elementary school, but in addition, this building will be the home of Mosaic Youth Theatre for the next 20 years.
You know, as I look back and I think about things, and I think about things that could have happened 60, 65, 68 years ago, and I thought about a lot of things. I realize now that reading and writing is the cornerstone for education.
Our children is what this work is all about. So, Tori, you asked, can UPSM help to fulfill your dream? You bet we can.
Joining me now are Kimberly Phillips, the principal of the new University Prep Science and Math Elementary School, and Rick Sperling, who's the founder and CEO of the Mosaic Youth Theatre of Detroit. Welcome to American Black Journal. So Wednesday was a big day.
Yes.
I mean, you can look at you can just see the looks on people's faces and the energy from that press conferences and see how excited everybody is that we're so close, right?
It's really a wonderful example of respecting the history of Detroit and doing something new and innovative at the same time.
Right. And that's one of the key elements here, is that you guys are not just taking this old building and putting something new in it. You're including, you know, we saw Charlie Primus in the clip there. He's part of the school's history.
Absolutely. And as University Preparatory Science and Math Elementary School moves in, we want to preserve that history. We want to teach our children of the great legacy in Detroit and that the legacy that is in that building.
Right.
And so we want to connect with the Miller High School alumni and the Miller Junior High alumni to let them know we want to embrace you. We're a part of the community and reviving what great history was there.
Right.
We're actually, it will be known as the Sidney D. Miller Campus.
Campus, sure.
The school is University Prep Science and Math Elementary School, but the campus is the Sidney D. Miller Campus.
Right.
And we're going to reinstall the Miller Wall of Fame that Charlie Primus still has all those photos.
Right, right.
Every great person. You mentioned some of them, also jazz greats, Yusuf Lateef, Milt Jackson,
who's
Kenny
my favorite.
Burrell.
Yes.
I mean, they had some great jazz concerts at Miller High School.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about the school. The school, I know, and I got to disclose, of course, my kids go to University of Prep Elementary, Mark Murray. This is the science and math component, which is related but sort of different. And you guys have a different kind of plan and structure for that school.
Yes, so our school is the science and math and technology. So we call it STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, but we're also adding the arts component.
Right, with Rick and Mosaic, sure.
So it becomes STEAM, and so our theme is full steam
full
ahead.
steam ahead, that's good, I like that.
So it's the inclusion of the arts and the science and technology, and it's really important for us to lay that proper foundation for our students.
Yeah.
As we look into the future, you know, science, technology, engineering, those are the areas where jobs will be, and we want to prepare our youngsters.
Yeah.
And this is a national movement. There's actually a congressional caucus around STEAM education, bipartisan, focusing, because people are starting to see industry and corporations are saying we need people that are creative thinkers, that are innovative.
Yes.
And the feeling is that the arts have been taken out of so much of the school that that's where young people learn that creativity, learn how to collaborate in innovative ways. So we're getting this as much from the workplace community as we are from the education community.
Right. So when you say science and math in the context of an elementary school, I mean, you still have these very basic building blocks that everybody's got to learn. So what will that mean in an elementary context?
Great question. We'll be using the expeditionary learning model.
Right.
Through that model, there's two parts of it. There's the strong culture building, the making sure that our students are connected with an adult, with their teachers, that they feel safe to explore, because we know that learning is an emotional thing. So our students have to feel connected to that teacher and feel safe to take those risks.
Right.
Teaching them that they can be leaders and what good quality looks like, and that they can measure for themselves, having them take that leadership and responsibility.
Right.
And being independent.
Yeah.
And being those global thinkers. The other component is that strong academic foundation.
Right.
And so for our youngsters K through 5, we will be building those strong reading blocks and math and all of those basics. But then we want to push them beyond what they think they can do.
Right.
And we will do that through our expedition projects, and we'd like to include the arts through those projects because we feel like that makes our children well-rounded and helps them to have a more balanced approach.
Sure.
And to be clear, Mosaic's not just there to do a theater class and a choir class.
Right.
We're going to be infusing the arts, excuse me, into everything.
Into the curriculum, sure.
In the curriculum. So if they're studying frogs, we're going to be doing music and plays and drawing and everything around frogs. And people find that really improves the comprehension of young people when they have those creative elements, but it also brings out their creative side.
Yeah, and this model, this expeditionary learning model, this is something that is all over the country. I mean, there are schools all over that are doing this, and they're having this sort of amazing success that I feel like people aren't as familiar with.
Yes, well, it's new to Michigan, new to the
right.
Detroit area, so we're very excited with our partnership.
You're the first expeditionary learning school here.
Schools here. Yes, absolutely. So we're really looking forward to the program, and it has wonderful outreach, wonderful experiences to help with our teachers so that they can grow. And we say that we are a learning community where we're going to all be learners.
Right.
That's teachers and students as well. And so, you know, making the environment safe for our teachers to feel like they can make those mistakes, learn from one another, and we're all growing together.
Yeah. Rick, you mentioned that, you know, we've had a hard time maintaining arts curriculums in schools. You know, DPS, our public school system, that's a constant struggle. Even suburban systems now, because of money, are seeing that disappear. Is this maybe a model that we could see spread so that, you know, you're in a building, you're able to augment that in a way that the regular schools couldn't? Is that something we can spread out to some other places?
That's our hope. This is, we believe, the first arts organization in residence at a K-12 school in the country.
Okay.
And so we think this is a model not only of the innovative curriculum, but how you get it done.
Right.
Because our staff who's in the building, not just our theater and music people, but our technical staff and everyone else will be able to work with the young people. And at the same time, it provides a home for Mosaic Youth Theatre.
Right.
We're not just going to be working with the school, we'll be doing our regular programs.
Your regular programs.
That serve kids from more than 50 schools, DPS kids, charter, private, homeschool kids will all be coming to be part of Mosaic's programs, and we'll still be doing our performances at the Detroit Institute of the Arts. So this gives us a stable home for our program that serves many schools over 20 years.
Right.
At the same time, the school gets to have the use of these high-skilled artists to work directly with their teachers and kids. It's a great partnership model.
Yeah, and whose idea was this partnership? How did this all work out?
There were a lot of innovative thinkers that made it happen. Margaret Trimmer-Hartley, who is the superintendent of UPSM, but also Geneva Williams had a hand in it. Matt Cullen even had a hand in it.
From Quicken Loans.
From Quicken Loans, a former member of the Mosaic Board, in figuring out how we can better use our assets and our resources in this community. This is directly aligned with the Detroit Works, with Detroit Future City Plan. Because one of their strategies is to reuse obsolete and historic buildings and to locate community learning centers in successful schools. So this is fitting in with the larger vision of Detroit. And so, yeah, there were some really big thinkers behind this idea. It's very innovative, but we're very, very excited about it.
Yeah, I know that building pretty well because I grew up in that area. I remember it was a middle school when I was a kid, but that's a giant building, and it's hard for people to even imagine how big it was. It had 2 swimming pools, I believe, at some point.
Now there's no more swimming pools.
And you've taken those out. I know you took those out.
I want to sell that.
Right, but that's an idea of just how large it was and how many kids are there. Talk about sort of how you guys are going to use the space that you have there.
Yes, well, we've built out beautiful classrooms. They're just under 1,000 square feet.
Okay, wow.
With a restroom in there, yes. So they're really
very big classrooms.
Yes, areas for children to have gathering areas for morning meetings, areas for crew meetings, and then areas for working collaboratively.
Okay.
Because oftentimes it's difficult in smaller spaces to have that space to work in small groups.
Sure.
So we'll definitely have the space in there, but we're looking forward to a beautiful building.
Right.
And there's one of the reasons we came in, it's such a big building, there was a whole wing of the building that they were not going to use for the school.
Right.
An incredible room with incredible windows and views of the city that was the lunchroom, the dining room. And that's going to be the choir room for the Mosaic Singers.
Very good.
The original gym, which is down 2/3 underground, will be the black box theater for us. Our administrative offices will be there, but we'll also share a historic recital hall, a new dining hall, a new gym.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about this is Mosaic, back in 2001, Detroit's 300th anniversary, we were commissioned to do a play about Detroit's history.
Right,
and we picked a play, we created a play that was about what we thought was the most exciting time to be a teenager. Our kids researched and did oral history interviews, and they decided the 1940s in the Black Bottom neighborhood, for good and bad, a lot was going on there, a lot of strife, but a lot of excitement. All of the characters in that play are Miller High School students.
Miller High School students.
So
and that play is opening now,
yes,
right?
the world all comes together. We had already planned, before this whole thing happened, this year to bring back Hastings Street, which is the play. All the students are Miller High School students. It's going to be playing at the Detroit Institute of the Arts in the 2nd and 3rd weekend in May. And so it's just amazing how things come around. We already had this attachment to Miller High School, Mosaic did, about the cultural history. And now for our young people, not only in this school, but from all over Metro Detroit, to be coming in those same walls that Yusuf Lateef and Della Reese were, to be that world-class youth arts organization is really exciting. And so the opening night, May 10th of Hastings Street, is going to be Miller Night.
Yeah, well, see, there you go. That's perfect.
Who shows up from the middle school, the junior high, or the high school, and has a report card or a letter jacket, or they will get a special gift from Mosaic and be recognized from the stage. So this is a wonderful celebration, we think, for our community and for young people in the community. The historical marker calls this a educational haven for African Americans.
Well, there you go. There you go.
We're trying to keep doing that.
And that's going to have to be it. But that's a great way to wrap this segment. Good luck. I'm very excited that that's going to open in the fall. Thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear what you thought about today's program and get your ideas for future topics. So connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you next time on American Black Journal.
Lindsay wants to know.
So I'm curious, what's DTE Energy doing to improve their customer service?
Why don't we take a ride over there and let Rachel tell us? Hello.
Hello. Take a walk with me. Here at DTE Energy, we're working very hard to improve our service, like answering every call under 1 minute and resolving the issue on the first call.
Wow, no passing the buck, huh?
Nope. And plus, we're adding over 100 customer service jobs right here in the state of Michigan.
I need to get a real job.
I'm going to send your application.
Thanks, Rachel. DTE Energy. Know your own power.